First order of business is to say this. I talked a lot about how I had no interest at all about communicating with Condor DM about anything because I just feel like it'd be a waste of time. In hindsight, I am going to say something totally different because, I change my mind sometimes when I think about things. And what I'm going to say is if Condor gets this message, because I don't know if he ever watches any of my live streams or any of my anything really. Um, and he wants to have a chat with me, like about whatever it is he wants to have a chat about. All he's got to do is hit the link in my chat box, and I'll bring him on, and we can chat about stuff. And then if that goes well, then I'll go on his show and we can chat about whatever he's doing. Okay. Paint some old starships. And some of you guys, you probably saw, Nighthawks. And I'm willing to bet because I know that most of the people who watch my show are men of taste and refinement, that you know exactly what I'm talking about, which is these, I don't know, 30 plus year old um, Star Frontiers miniatures. What's up, Crafting Gamer? How you doing, bro? Thanks for swinging in for a minute. So, I've got like, this is a ship from the Dramoon Run, actually. The map is in it. And then, of course, if you're playing, that's an Osprey class assault scout. One thing I've always liked about Star Frontiers, and thus also um, Queen 300, is they do the ships right. There's no artificial gravity in Star Frontiers, so the ship decks are sliced downwards instead of lengthwise, like it's just some kind of boat. Hey, Hungar, how you doing? And Shadow, what up? What up? So these guys have been laying about. I have actually those really big, like plastic things that people sometimes use to keep sewing stuff in, and all of us gamers use to keep miniatures in, etc. I have so many Star Frontiers miniatures. These are metal. These are not um, 3D printed, even though, to be brutally honest, I kind of wish they were. I do have a 3D printed. Um, there's Leth. Me and Leth were up half the night chatting on Discord.
Hey,
What's up, Leth?
not much. But
I do have a 3D printed UPF, United Planetary Federation, battleship around here, and I
nice.
have a metal one. Okay, here's the metal one, right? This bad boy weighs probably a pound. And you're constantly worrying about different pieces might want to snap off, right? Also, I've become really enamored with this space blue as a color. And here's a metal light cruiser. Heavy, 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 right?
Oh,
And then where is it now? Don't turn me into a liar, guys. Then we've got a 3D printed. Now all the guns I added. That's why the guns are sticking out the way they are. They're actually guns from like Battlefleet Gothic,
well, that
because
worked.
you can get the STLs from Drive Through RPG for damn near nothing. And it turns out that the guy who created the STLs, they are dead on to scale. So love it. Now the 3D printed one is lighter, easier to store. So whatever. And this one right here, I'm telling you right now, I'm getting ready to pop all of the weapons off of because I have better, lower profile weapons that I can put on, and I think that it'll just better.
Ugh.
Not to mention, I threw some. These are destroyers or frigates. I forget which one. Metal. Now they never did either. They never had a destroyer. Or they never had a frigate miniature. And the guy who did all the STLs, he actually added one. And another thing he did is the Sathar fleet was missing some OPD. No. I got a whole couple boxes. Also, I'll show off my Chris knife. Just in case you're wondering, my brother, Zatara the Lion, who may have been one of the last of the Fremen, I killed him. He's gone. And I took his Chris knife. But the Starship miniatures I have, as far as whatever, are all either 3D print models that just, I found STLs and I thought, man, that's a cool starship. I think I'll print up a dozen of them or whatever, right? Or these Star Frontier ships that were designed to go with Nighthawks. So, for those of you remember, and I'm sure some of you do, Nighthawks was an expansion to Alpha Dawn that added space combat. And not only did it add space combat, it added the ability for your character to actually be involved in the space career chain, let's say. Because in that thing, how you pick what your character is you go by, things you pick, right? But that game allows you to make your primary skill area space. And then you get to pick whether you want to be a pilot or an engineer or whatever, right? So it really added a lot to Star Frontiers, which, in my opinion, I mean, all the craziness aside that's been going on, is still one of the best sci-fi games ever made. I mean, it still ranks up there, in my opinion, with Traveler or see, Dune. I have a hard time counting as a sci-fi game because really, it's a game about conspiracies and effing each other over and stuff like that. So yeah, it happens in space, but it's not really about space. It's more about, the feudalism of the far future. And you gonna be on Dune? I saw Greg the other night. I went into a dungeon and he had just cleared it, which aggravated me because I was in the dungeon specifically to kill things. And he cleared the whole damn research facility. So I had to stand around until everything respawned. Because I had a mission where I had to kill 15 enemy with a snub-nosed pistol.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Right. It's like, well, the good thing is in Dune, the snub-nosed pistol is, while it may not have the range you would like,
damage.
It hits incredibly hard. If your opponent isn't wearing a shield or something and you land a body or headshot, they die. I mean, it doesn't fire like a light dart like most weapons do. It fires a heavy dart. So this thing is like out there doing work, you know what I mean? Semi-auto. It's basically the 44 Magnum of the Dune universe. It has 5 rounds in a clip, and you just freaking lay it down. Boom, boom, boom. And whatever, you know. But it'll be good to see those guys in Dune. I left a bunch of plasticrete bricks at your house near my house, Hungar, so that your house could like look respectable instead of like the embarrassment that it currently does look. I mean, you know, square boxes with the pentashield on the roof. That is so lame. It's like, where does your character sleep or take a poop or anything? You know, you need to get on board with like my house, a giant, scary black pyramid, you know, with like 20 floors. And so, anyway, what I'm going to do, this is the Morning Star. It actually is in a Dune advent or Dune, a Star Frontiers adventure.
You know, James, if I was in this game, I'd make an upside down pyramid.
I actually thought of that. No, I'm not joking. I actually gave it some thought. You could easily do it.
Oh, fair.
And it would be like made out of black stone and all high tech looking. So, I mean, it would look really cool, actually. Hungar's like, I like my house. Yeah. Come on, man. But anyway. We're talking about, so this Vallejo color, and the first thing I just did is just paint the base black. Sometimes what I'll do is I would get a little white on a brush and flick it so that looks like stars or something. But I mean, that's just if you feel the need. These have the 1-inch hex things, which I have a whole bag of them, and sometimes I actually put actual miniatures on these 1-inch hex bases. They look strange when you're used to round bases, but after you get used to it, it's kind of like you kind of start asking yourself, why haven't we been posting everything? Like, why aren't all of your sci-fi or fantasy role-playing figures mounted on hexes? Why?
Oh.
Because if you look at the character on hex, right, you can see his front, his left, his right, his rear, his flanks. I mean, you still play on a grid and shit, but the point is, if you're playing a game like AD&D where, you know, if your opponent's on a certain facing, you can't use a shield, then all of a sudden, you know, those hexes start looking pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? But for some reason, other than Battletech and certain space games, they never really caught on. This is the other kind of hex base that they used to make for this game. Like if you bought a booster pack, you might get that. If you bought a booster pack of a really big ship, you got these lead X's because these ships are so big. And what's crazy is, though, you play on a 1-inch hex map. There's no way this. See, I mounted this on the same basis I mount my Battlefleet Gothic stuff on. This can sit in a 1-inch hex, but I mean, heaven help you if you want to put anything near it. Shark, what is up? Group at the Vault Cigar Lounge. Gamed all night. Fine cigars and beer and calzones. Well, I like 3 of the things you mentioned. Actually, 4. No. I was right. 3. Of all the things you mentioned, 3 of them I'm 100% with you and love. 100% love. Leth, since you're my sidekick today, what do you think the thing I don't like is?
I don't know. I'm not good at guessing those things.
Look, Leth, you can't be on my show all the time if you're not going to help me out. Help me out, bro. Help me out.
Let's see. The Boulder.
Gaming, cigars, beer, and calzones.
Calzones.
That is a bad guess. It'd be cigars. I've never
Oh,
smoked
cigars.
anything in my life,
Okay, fair
and
enough. I
never
didn't think
will.
about. I don't know why. I just ignored the cigars in general. Maybe it's because I know my papal smoked them all the time, and I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. I mean, I probably inhaled enough smoke in my life to kill somebody, but I'm just
uh,
one of those guys that when everybody was 16 and smoking in the boys' room, doing the whole Motley Crue thing. I wasn't. I was, you know, being
I
all
never
straight
smoked in my
edge and
life either.
shit.
Never would.
Yeah, I was all straight edge in school. I used to get in trouble sometimes, even though it was stupid, because every day to school I wore a pair of surplus army boots, combat boots, black jeans, and a white t-shirt.
The only reason I get in
And
trouble is for getting into
and
fights.
they like for the longest time I never had a problem. And then like toward the end of the 80s, all of a sudden people were like, teachers, not the other students. Their students didn't give a shit. And it was just like they started wondering if I was like a member of any particular ideology or whatever. Now, to be fair, my army boots did have white laces, but it had nothing to do with anything other than the original laces broke. And the only laces I had laying around, I had to take out of a pair of high top Converse.
Mm,
And they were just those flat, white
like
normal
the others.
laces. I was not trying to make any sort of political statement, but I can kind of understand why people would say, the guy with the shaved head, because I kept my head shaved.
Yeah, I do too.
And he's wearing the black jeans and the boots with the white laces, and he's wearing the white t-shirt. It's like it was like, no, I wasn't into any of that. I was a D&D nerd, right? But
I wasn't a D&D nerd in high school, but I got into it.
oh yeah, what'd you do in high school?
Uh, Video games mostly.
So I mean, did you have friends in high school, or were you like
Yeah.
the loner?
No, I had friends. A few in a lot of different groups. There was like the skater punks I had a friend or two in with. Other sides, so other groups.
Yeah. All of my friends in high school were people I gamed with. That was it. It was like
We
if you
played
weren't a
cards in
gamer,
high
we
school.
weren't friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we played like trading card games in high school. That was our thing.
Well, because you were in school when Magic was out.
That wasn't Magic. We played Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh. Let's count up numbers and then
Yep.
determine who won. That's what Yu-Gi-Oh is. It's like, okay, lay
Yep.
down all your stuff, count up all your numbers. Oh, you won. Yay.
The only reason I got into trouble because I got in fights sometimes.
What? Not
That's all.
not my boy Leth out here throwing bones and shit.
Look, I got in fights. That's how things were back then.
Back then, dude, you're a kid. You don't know what back then is. You're not allowed to use that
Back
word.
when I was in high school in the 90s, early
Right.
2000s.
You're like the ultimate millennial. Yeah, yeah. Things were different back then. I mean, people did get into fights. But so this space gray is actually like a weird blue. And by weird blue, I just mean it's blue. I don't know why I called it weird. And I hope that it doesn't get its feelings hurt in any way because I said it was weird. Because some people they might be like, damn, that guy said I was weird.
Good one, Nez. Come on.
And I'm just a creep and shit. What the hell am I doing here? Yep, I was running around Dune last night, and Leth was keeping me company, talking about. I have
Marvel.
no idea.
We were talking about mostly Marvel.
Oh, then we went through the book, comparing all the adventurers.
Yep.
Pretty interesting stuff. So this stuff right here, this Starship or Space Gray, I think they designed it like if you wanted to paint like Space Wolves, but it makes a starship basically kind of look like that. It's still wet, so I mean it'll be different when it's dry. And I don't know. I kind of gotten to where I kind of like it, Of course, I got a big ship to paint. I mean, it's to scale, but it's big. But it's to scale with my Star Frontier stuff. It's a gigantic, like, colony ship. And of course, it's got the rotating hab sections. So even though it looks humongous, if you think about total mass by putting it next to a battleship, it's not much bigger than that battleship. Because the battleship's just a lot more chunky, And this thing's got every hollow and, But I don't know. I might paint that thing white, black. I don't know what color I paint it. Yeah, Leth and I were going over Marvel heroes. I was commenting on Blade being a total badass because in the Marvel game, Blade is a badass. Like better than Deadpool. But I decided if I ever played a superhero game of the Marvel game, I would just copy Sabretooth's stats down on a character sheet, invent an entirely different backstory, and then I'd call him like Kitty Cat or Honey Badger. Let's say Honey Badger, which is a good one. Or
Honey Badger don't care.
Or Ferret. Yeah, Honey Badger don't give any shits about anything. Stoat, me, whatever. That's just the kind of character I think I'd like to play. Shark and his marine debauchery. I'm never surprised, Shark, by all the debauchery you've been involved in with the Corps. Now, here's another paint that I actually like for these guys. And it's just the contrast white. Vallejo calls their contrast white Templar white. Whereas I think Citadel calls it apothecary white or some shit. A big issue is that for whatever reason, and I know what the reason is, it's the way they're the containers. These are drip top and the Citadel. The Citadel apothecary white, that stuff dies so quick. You buy a tub of it and it'll be just completely unusable within a couple weeks because my wife's in there listening to Salty Cracker. Okay, Leth, let me ask you your thoughts.
Okay.
You're going to have to use your imagination, which I know you got. Let's imagine you work for the DOJ, right? So okay. You got it. You're a minor guy at the DOJ. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you see ICE operatives, agents, and they're on a sidewalk doing ICE stuff. So, arresting illegals, whatever, right?
Yep.
So you're still with me here, because
Yeah.
this is where it gets crazy, right? Let's say you get up in the ICE agent's face and start calling him names and carrying on and jumping up and down like a damn monkey, okay? What are you thinking so far?
I mean, why would I be doing that if they're doing their job and I'm supposed to be in the
That's a good
DOJ?
question. That's a good question, homie. We'll get into that. Here's where it gets really good. Let's say, for no reason anyone will ever be able to divine, you chuck your foot-long Subway sandwich directly in the face of the ICE agent and then try to run. What do you think's going to happen?
Somebody's going to get arrested and hopefully fired.
Well, it turned out, yes, the guy was immediately fired from his job with the DOJ, and he's being arrested. And I think Judge Janine Shapiro is saying federal charges. He's looking at 5 to 10 in a federal penitentiary. And I'm just sitting here thinking, well, I mean, at least I guess you showed ice. Good job, I guess. I mean, I'm just like, how stupid. Because the correct play is you walk out of a place, you see a bunch of ICE agents doing some shit. You walk to your car, get in it, start it, and leave. Because it doesn't involve you.
Yep, doesn't involve you.
Yeah, right. And this guy, of course, was he's kind of an over not very fit white guy, wearing like pink shorts and sandals.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, it is just exactly what you think. And he took off running, and like the ICE guys just immediately, caught him. But it's just like, this is embarrassing. And I really hope, here's something I don't think anyone has thought about. I really hope he wasn't married. Because if he let his passions get ahead of him and he did that, and he's going to be leaving behind a wife and maybe some kids. And they're not going to visit his dumbass in prison. They're just he's going to get a letter saying, I divorced you, and she's going to move on. That's just how that shit goes, right? But it's just so, like, really? You are going to run up on a public sidewalk on the streets and chuck a fucking Subway sandwich at an ICE officer because somebody on the news said that was a good thing to do or something. It's like you can't even feel bad for him,
Well, at least it was just a Subway sandwich.
Oh, I agree. At least, he wasn't throwing a brick or doing something else, but
I was making a joke about the Subway sandwich being a crap sandwich.
Right? He's not really out much, is he?
Yeah.
Just a Subway sandwich. Who cares, right?
But it's not a Jimmy John's or a Publix.
Yeah, it's not a pub sub, so, I mean, whatever, right? But it's just like, this is what. And this guy's a citizen. He works for the Department of Justice. So,
I don't know, maybe he's a foreigner who's working for the DOJ because we have those as judges now.
Oh, I saw that. The Canadian judge.
Oh, no, I wasn't even talking about the Canadian one. I was talking about the Muzzy one.
Yeah, he's from Canada originally.
Oh, I thought he was from a Middle Eastern country.
Well, I mean, originally he immigrated to Canada, where he was a judge in Canada for a while. And now somehow he's a judge in America. But he's probably going to lose his judginess pretty soon. They're talking about that dude's getting ready to, get gone. And that's good because um, maybe I'm crazy here, but I just don't think you should allow foreign born people who may or may not be actually loyal to the nation into any position of power at all. Like in the James Perfect, I guess a lot of people would call it fascist America. People like Ilhan Ilmar and those like that bunch, they never would have been eligible to even run for Congress or Senate or whatever, let alone get in. Now, unfortunately, Crockett, I couldn't do anything about because, she's American. We brought her over here. Now we got to deal with it. But it's insane that we would import a bunch of Somalis into America shortly after the Black Hawk Down incident, which in my opinion means we should just nuke Mogadishu. Drop them all in Minneapolis and then be surprised that the representatives from Minneapolis are Somalis. It's like, well, you dropped 300,000 Somalis into what used to be a 99% white little city, And now you basically just set Minneapolis up as a stronghold for people who may or may not like America very much. I mean, because here's the thing. I don't know if people thought about this, but I thought about this because I could only watch Black Hawk Down one time. It pissed me off so bad. It just made me think, genocide sometimes might be appropriate, the appropriate response. How many of the Somalis living in Minneapolis right now were our enemies in the Mogadishu incident? How many of them? And how many of them were sympathetic to that whole thing? You know what I mean? It's like, see, and when we did Operation Paperclip, which granted wasn't necessarily like, yes, we're out there capturing Yahtzees and bringing them to America and making them work. The big difference before anybody brings that argument up is the Yahtzees that we were capturing and bringing over and putting to work. They were actually necessary so that we could beat our rival, which was the USSR at the time.
Also weren't madmen like Mengele.
Right, they were scientists. They weren't like out there doing crazy shit, but even so, right? But all these guys we brought from Mogadishu, what do they do? They're not going to help us invent the next leap in technology. They're just, whatever, right? I have a couple nieces that live in Minneapolis, and I'm always like worried for them because that place is just trash. But whatever. I mean, they want to live up there with their dad. And their dad wants to live up there because their dad was a black guy. Well, I assume he still is black unless, his melanin fell off. And he impregnated my cousin a couple of times, had some daughters, and then decided he didn't like living around white people. So he packed his shit and moved to Minneapolis. And now that his daughters are old enough to do whatever they want, they're like in their 20s, they decide to move up there.
Okay, I'm going to have to go. My dinner's ready. I'll see ya.
I'll catch you later. Thanks for dropping in, Lef. So anyway, Exactly. That's why. I mean, if we're going to import people into this country, we need to start importing people into the country that know shit. Like import some super genius in. I mean, we did it with Elon, or he came of his own free will because he's not an idiot, right? But this whole thing where we go to some piece of shit third world country where they're still, having sex with goats and stuff. Look it up. They are. And we whip the shit out of them because they've been misbehaving. And we're not fans of that, right? So we're like, okay, we got to whip the shit out of you guys. You've been misbehaving a little bit, right? Okay, good. That's fine. And then we immediately turn around and import 250,000 plus of them and dump them in, I don't know, Dearborn, Michigan, Minneapolis. And now Dearborn is so crazy that it's like literally like the leftists were so mad because when they were trying to do their rainbow flag thing, Dearborn, Michigan passed a city ordinance saying you can't hang rainbow flags up anywhere on city property. And then the LGBT people were all like, I can't believe they did that. And it's like, they're Muslims, right? I mean, when you were playing them off, trying to, start a war between Christianity and Islam and taking the Muslim side, I'm sure it seemed like a good tactical move. But I don't think those idiots actually thought through what would happen if the Muzzies win. Like, let's say somehow in the future, it could happen maybe, Islam does truly dominate the earth. Every country is placed under Sharia law. The LGBT people, what do they think their life is going to be like? Have they ever thought about it? I don't think they have. I mean, as Christians, it would kind of suck for us because we'd have to pay extra taxes. You know me, I hate taxes of any sort. Staying in the Twin Cities. Yeah, it's also Ryan. First time seeing you. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, my nieces live there, and I think that the neighborhood they live in, which is predominantly black, they kind of get away because they kind of can be okay because they're half black. And so even though they're blonde haired, they still, are accepted into the black community, right? And plus, their dad's, I guess, respected in his neighborhood. But yeah, they don't even like the Somalis. You know what I mean? And these are American blacks, and they're like, you know what? Screw those Somalis, man. they don't care for them, And it's like, but of course not. I mean, I remember a while back there was some cab company in Somalia that was trying to lobby to make it where they didn't have to drive drunk people because drinking alcohol is against Islam. Of course, it got shot down. People were like, well, don't be a cab driver. This is America. We like to drink. So, have at it, But the fact that that was even a thing that somebody had to think of is so weird. Yeah, the Dearborn meeting when they were talking about the schools and the books and all that, them guys showed up in force and brought the wives with them. And they weren't having none of that shit at all. And I have to admit, I was kind of jealous because even though I know in my heart Islam is a fake religion, it's a false religion, I should say. And they do not worship the same God as Christians do. I know this for a fact. However, I still kind of respected their ability to mobilize and get shit done. Because the problem with Christianity in the United States, and it is a problem, is Christians just never get shit done. You know, it's like never get anything done. It's like no one is afraid to make fun of a Christian. No one is afraid, which is fine. I mean, no one should be afraid of Christians. You know, that's kind of how we know which religion is good and which isn't. I mean, if there's a religion in your country and you're afraid to talk shit about it because it might, you know, end with you getting beheaded, that's not a good religion. You know what I'm saying? You might want to think about it a little bit and be like, yeah, just not totally sure how I feel about this, you know? But when they came out against the left, it was so funny too, because like all of the ultra leftist LGBT people who had been kissing up to the Muslims for, you know, decades up in Dearborn, right? And then all of a sudden they're like, we've been betrayed. But anyone with any brains, I mean, I've read the Quran. Unfortunately, I've only read the Quran in English. And any Muslim will tell you that unless you read the Quran in the original Arab language, then you're not actually getting anywhere. You know what I mean? But yeah, if you read the Quran and some of the hadiths, or even just go on YouTube and type in, you know, Muslim hadiths about whatever you're interested in, you will find that all of these like LGBT people out in the street waving flags talking about free in Palestine are insane. They are literally out of their damn minds. Because given the chance, the Palestinians would be chucking them right off the tallest buildings. Well, here's the thing, though. The reason the police weren't doing anything is they're all Muslims. There's a Christian group that goes up there like once a year to like walk around with a cross and evangelize, and they always get harassed, like not only by the people who attack them nonstop violently, but by the cops, because the cops, the Dearborn Police Department is Islamic from the bottom to the top, and the city is just dominated, right? Like you can go to Dearborn, which isn't far from where my sister lived in Michigan, and you can be sitting in a shop eating hummus and hear the call to prayer. I mean, it's like, you know, to me, I mean, it's like, damn, am I back in Saudi Arabia or some shit, you know? Now, the good thing is the shops don't have to close up or anything. In Saudi Arabia, when that call to prayer hits, you'll see merchants start locking doors and shit. And if you're a non-Muslim, American, whatever, and they know it, they will leave you sitting in there eating while they go out and pray, but they'll lock the door. And it's for your protection, because in Saudi Arabia, they have these, they're not muezzin or clerics, but they're kind of are. And they walk around with, you know, like a yard long cane. And if they catch you doing anything except praying when it comes time to pray, yeah, they whip your ass. You get your ass straight whipped. So when those, you know, when the guy at the falafel restaurant locks you in, he's not being a dick. You know what I'm saying? And if you're American and you're not stupid, because, you know, a lot of American tourists are idiots. They just think the world is going to, you know, do whatever Americans do, right? Let me tell you, it does not work that way in the Middle East. They give 0 Fs about how we do it here. They got the way they do it there. And you figure that crap out quick or else. You know what I'm saying? So, um, yeah, you don't want to be out there getting fined or getting your ass whipped by some old dude with a freaking yard long cane pole. That's no fun, right? So, yeah, the merchants are nice enough that they will lock up the shops, and you just have to sit there for the 20-30 minutes it takes for them to finish with their daily prayers. At which point he'll come back and open up the shop and shit will go on as if nothing had ever happened. Now, if you're walking down the street and you're an American in Saudi Arabia, say I was in Riyadh, and I was also at King Fahd Military City. If you're walking down the street and you hear it, the first thing you do is look around for a shop, and you walk in and you sit down and order a drink. And the guy will bring you your mango juice or whatever you order, and then he'll lock up shop and go out. And you sit there. Basically, what I'm saying is when you hear the call to prayer, get off the damn street. That is just point one. Get off the street. Don't think for an instant you are going to get special treatment because you're an American. You will not. They will whip your ass and get you off the street, fine you, maybe even throw you in prison. I mean, Saudi Arabia is pretty hardcore like that, I mean, think about that one sassy fat black lady that yelled at a dude in Dubai and got put in prison, right? Because apparently in Dubai, it's against the law for a woman to raise her voice to a man. And people think they're all bad. They got some good ideas. So this arrived. It is an filament printed Kinjal. Like this is like what the Atreides carried. Yeah, this Kinjal. And I already showed you my. This is literally Jameis's crysknife. I have the STLs for like all of the main characters, crysknives, Kynes, Stilgar. And then I also got the STLs for like the 1986 Dune movie, where they're basically about that long and they kind of got a weird shape and they look a lot more like bone. Here it is, actually, sitting on my desk. But the thing is, I printed this up at the size it said to print it up. Now, I know I've got pretty big hands because, of my height and everything. I feel like this should be much bigger. You know what I mean? At least half again. At least half again longer. Because this is just like, really? Yeah, I just don't. I mean, that's got like a 3-inch blade on it. What are you going to do with that? The only thing I can think of would be like with my Maro knife, maybe carve some, Indian drop traps and shit like that. Make some freaking fire starter, but actually fight somebody to the death with something like this. God, that'd be just be a bloody, brutal situation. I mean, you'd have to wrestle them to the ground and stab them like 12 times, to kill them with something like that. Even this thing here, the blade is twice as long. So if you run up on this and you get it through the shield and you jab it in them, they're done. I mean, that is supposed to be, like I said, a replica of the blade carried by Duke Leto Atreides the First. This was the blade he carried. I've been getting like super into the Dune thing. You guys know that. Except in my campaign, because I'm playing the alternate universe, like this guy, which would normally be a Fremen. You notice I painted his cloak orange, right? Well, I'm going to paint some chevrons on it, and that will designate him as a member of the Sandflies, which is a very, very large group of bandits and whatever that have decided that they're not going to work for the great houses anymore. They're just going to hide up in the caves and rob people. So they're basically like the Timu version of Fremen. And they're also communists. Because as you're going through the mission, you know, you like, well, if you're me, you'll go into their lairs and wipe them out. And there's little things you can hit where you can check out the communications that are going on between the different groups. And it's all workers unite, blah, 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 blah. So I'm all like, yeah, the workers are not going to unite. You know, I'm a level 178 Harkonnen Swordmaster. There'll be no workers. And I've got a man crush on Fade Rotha because I helped him do a mission. And he was super cool. I know he's just an NPC in a computer game, but you ever play a game where the dialogue text and prompt is so good that you're like, damn, I actually in real life like that character. You know what I mean? Hey, what's up, William? How you doing, bro? Got some people popping in and out, you know. I know how it is. This is boring shit. So this is primered white and given non-oil wash. And if I go back over and just pick out the details like the lasers and the engines and stuff, and then paint, of course, the base and everything, then that's pretty good. You know what I mean? I might paint all those scoops on the front, which I think are laser cannons. I might paint them like red, you know, just to give it like, and if I want, maybe I'll paint the engine, you know. One thing you'll notice about a lot of the ships in Star Frontiers is the engines are well away from the hull of the ship on nacelles, or however you say that, you know, the Star Trek term. And the reason is the Fukushima drive or whatever it's called, very radioactive. So if the engines are too close to the ship and you don't have a lot of shielding around it, you're going to irradiate the crew. And that may not be what you want to do with your life, you know? Maybe irradiating the crew is not the thing. You could have been thinking about, you know, keeping that crew around. Or you could be like, you know, the professor in Futurama and just keep their work chips around. You know, stomach contents of giant wasps. Can I have some money? Oh my, no. Yeah, I love that guy, Farnsworth. He's the only reason I really watch a show. A lot of people like Bender, but for me, Farnsworth is the reason to watch the show. Professor Farnsworth. Zoidberg's okay, but sometimes he can be annoying. And I'm pretty much indifferent about the rest of them. So this ship, I am using Vallejo speed paints. So it's like Army Painter speed paints, but they call it Vallejo Express color because it's super express. And I've painted this starship a deep purple. Dun, 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 dun. No, that's in the Gata Davida. Deep purple would have been like smoke on the water. Just because. and I'll probably go back and do something with those engines. These ships, they're in these are not interstellar ships. I don't think. I think these are like system defense, you know, or corvettes. I'd have to look in my book, which is in there, and you know, I've got the original box set, which is falling apart, and then I've got the reprints. Now I tell you, the one reprint that I might even be like tempted to say a prayer to get from Drive Through RPG is Game World Second Edition. And it's like the only version of Gamma World that you can't get reprinted. You know, it's like, it's like somebody just get a scanner, take somebody into a little room, have them scan that shit, make sure it looks good, and put it out as hey, you can buy this. I mean, you've done it with other books, so we know you can do it with this book. So let's stop being jerk asses here. I think sometimes some of the things they don't reprint, there's like an ulterior motive, like maybe the artist that created it, it's like, don't reprint my shit, or something like that. You know what I mean? Because you can get first, third, fourth, and I think you can even get that wacky, stupid, where you had to buy collectible cards to see what your mutations were. You can get all of those printed. Can't get second. It's like, but they did that a long time ago with D&D modules too, where you could get like D1, D2, but you couldn't get D3. You know, and it's like, you know, Vault of the Drow. That's way more important than the other ones. Even though in I think D2, when you run into the vampire and his succubus girlfriend, that is a cool adventure or a cool encounter. And yeah, be pretty easy for characters to catch a wipe there. All right. Can't believe they're still in there on the news talking about Russian collusion. So, those of you watching, I have a comment section. Make some comments. I got a question for you guys. You can answer. Think about shaving my head. What do you think? Should I shave my head or should I go get my hair cut neat? I mean, the wife, she's got a very good stylist. She does a good job. You know what I mean? She'll do like the sides really short, but leave the top kind of long, which I like. But if I go for the haircut, it means I have to actually leave the house, which I don't like, unless it's to get food, in which case I'm good with it. You know what I mean? I made myself some soup. It's over there waiting for me. I'll go get it here in a bit, but hell yeah, it's got some pork in it. It's got some broccoli, carrots, sweet potato. Basically, I just went through the refrigerator and whatever was in there, I was like, I'll go ahead and throw this in there. See, just because I wanted this to be a bit on the different side, this merchant ship, I went ahead and painted the containers with the purple since I already had the purple out. In reality, you probably could have painted those containers like all kinds of different colors. Because if you look in the book, it has the blueprint of this thing, right? And the crew and everything live in that very, very front tip. And then you've got the engines, and then you've got like a long ladder leading down. And it has basically, cargo containers that it hooks up to. So, kind of interesting. Probably the way we will do it. Leave the house, get your hair neatened up. Well, that's a vote, though. See, my wife, she is not the hugest of huge fans of me just shaving my head completely down to the skin. Because when I shave my head, I don't even use a guard. Like, I go right down to the skin, right? And she tolerates it because she's my wife and she's a good wife. So, there's quite a bit of stuff that she's willing to look the other way on, basically. But yeah, I'll just have to talk to her and tell her the next time she's going to go get her hair done, she offers to take me every time. And every time I'm like, nah, I don't want to go. But so Coco Beware's got the vote. And if he's the only one who does vote, then guess what? He wins. That's the way the game works, ladies and gentlemen. You get your chance. And if you decide you don't give an F, well, you know what? To quote another guy from Florida, if you don't care, then we don't care. Tell me what you're going to do now. Step up. That's right, Limp Bizkit. Yes, they're from Jacksonville. Which is, I was in Jacksonville a week ago. And by in, I mean I drove through it. I think it still holds the record as the largest city in the world. Because the city of Jacksonville just incorporated the entire county of Duval. So according to like land area, like how big by square mileage is a city? Apparently Jacksonville is like the biggest city by square mileage because of the fact that it's actually a whole damn county, which is pretty hilarious. Which means I don't think there's any sheriffs there. It's all Jacksonville police. The fire department's all Jacksonville Fire Department, which is a very good department. Very good. Very ISO 1, highly trained guys. A good bunch of guys in Jacksonville. I know for a fact. But, yeah. Make a day of it. Get a haircut, get some food, have a date. Yeah, that'd be nice. We had like a mini date the other day. I bought some sushi and we just kind of hung out. That's what I do when I'm not here. Since I've started like waking up instead of sleeping all day and being a vampire, I kind of hang out in there with the wife and chat with her. And most of the time, I think she likes it. But since she works from home, sometimes I think she's all like, hey, calm down. Also, I am here to tell you this weekend, my sister-in-law visited with my brother-in-law, who he's such a cool guy, right? And we played Dune Imperium twice. We got 2 games in, and I lost. Yep. Which is sad because the second game, it really looked like I was going to win, and then I lost. So none of you other chuckleheads got any comments except for Freaking Coco Beware. What is going on with this universe? I'll tell you what. Where you guys, I mean, you know that responding to stuff in comments, they don't charge you for that. That's free. You can just do that. Also, whichever one of you talks to me and talks to Condor, let him know that if he ever wants to pop into my channel and join the channel, I've decided, yeah, I'll have him on. You know, and we'll see if he's nice and behaves himself, and we'll shoot the shit about whatever, man. Because at first I was thinking I'm not going to talk to him because he's been acting away. But then I thought, you know, that's not really fair, though. You know, let's give him. We'll give him we'll give him a shot. You know, let him. If he's going to be a jerk, let's let him prove he's going to be a jerk. Let's not just assume he's going to be a jerk, right? I mean, who knows? He used to be a supporter of my channel at one time. And not 100% sure why he stopped being a supporter of my channel. I probably said something he didn't like, and he just decided to hate me from then on, because that's kind of how he kind of is, you know? Like, yeah, it's just kind of how it is, you know? So I've got some metallic out. So real quick, I'm going to paint Jack Burton's Tech 9 and his Gerber knife. Well, I got some, because I hate to waste the paint. So when I have it just laying out, I'll look at everything on my desk, and if there's anything that could use a little silver, I'll try to use it up. Dun, 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 dun. Your mother's got a penis. Your mother's got a penis. See, I think my brother's left. Can you believe that? I'm over here live streaming. My brother ain't even watching. We're getting close to being done anyway, though, so. I bet you he's probably playing Dune. I left a bunch of shit in his base. So, building materials and stuff, you know, so that if he wants to, he ain't got to, but if he wants to, he can straighten his base up a little bit. You know what I mean? Get it looking good. Also, guys, remember, if you're watching this and you don't hate my guts, give me a thumbs up. And if you do hate my guts, give me a thumbs down. And continue hate watching, I guess. It's so weird. There's been nights I've streamed and had like 20 plus people in chat, which for me is a lot, you know? And I know why, because, you know, I don't do all the bells and whistles. Mainly, I think because I'm lazy, right? But I'll have 20 plus people in my chat and no one commenting. And it's like, what is going on here? You know what I mean? Like, what's happening, you know? Like, is everybody listening to me while they're on the toilet, driving home from work, trying to decide whether or not they want to stay Canadian or American? Listening to, or I'll tell you what, I think some people just out of niceness put me on and then just go do other shit so that at least it looks like I've got viewers. And those of you who do that, I mean, I appreciate it. You know, thank you for looking out for me. You know, it's not ideal, obviously, but I appreciate the gesture, man. The gesture, trying to look out for a bro. Appreciate it. Not trying to knock you, but the thing is, I'm sitting here painting, and that's fun and all. I decided the this ship, which I think is called the Morning Star, or something like that. I'd throw some highlights on it. Jack Burton easily in the top 5 sidekicks. Yeah. I agree with your list, Coco. I agree with your list.
Hey, James.
Hey, how are you doing, Crafting Gamer?
Okay, I guess. I mean, my back's being a little bit wonky today, so
Oh yeah, well,
distraction will help.
you know how it is with that, man. Once you hurt your back, it's like it's never right.
Joy.
You know?
I know where my back problems come from. I decided that, well, I mean, I was a kid in my defense.
I think he vanished. I like the Inquisitor he's got for his thing though. But yeah, the hardest thing will be with the Jack Burton figure. The most difficult thing will be trying to paint something on his t-shirt that looks enough like the Jack or the Chinese thing without going completely insane with a brush with like one hair. Because you know I want to use the figure, but you know it's Jack Burton, right? So I want to also do him credit. So, yep, I think he got disconnected. Now the good news is this space gray looks an awful lot like faded blue jeans when you put it on somebody. So you know, Jack Burton's getting ready to get some faded blue jeans. And then he'll have his boots. And then he's just wearing a white t-shirt, which means the rest of him I just need to put some flesh on.
There. I had to switch internets.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am currently painting.
What are you painting, homie?
I forgot what it's called, but it is a Archon Studios miniature that is like, I don't like its size to be the scale of either one of them, but it is literally a changer of ways that has been defiled by Nurgle. That's literally what it looks like. I'll actually post pictures when it's done, and you'll be like, is that a Warhammer piece? That's literally what it looks like. It's just too small to be either one of them in scale.
That's crazy. Archon, aren't they the same guys that do like Dungeons and Lasers and all that?
Yes, this is actually specifically from the Dungeons and Lasers line.
Okay.
It's sitting on a grave, so I'm on a gravestone, so I'm presuming it's a type of undead.
Right.
I don't know. It just reminded me so much of that I just figured it would be. I have to look and see what miniature I might be able to use it as a proxy for. Problem is this thing has wings, and everyone's like, "Are you saying your proxy can fly?" No, it just looks like what it looks like, so it's awesome to use as a proxy. So I don't know, but if I wanted to use it for a changer of ways, it does not have nearly the wingspan. And if I wanted to use it for a Nurgle model, I would need to put him like half a foot in the air.
Right. I ended up buying 3 of the sci-fi starter sets.
Oh yeah.
From Dungeons and Lasers. I haven't used them yet.
Oh,
but I like them.
Oh yeah. During the caves Kickstarter, I backed for both the caves and the previous Kickstarter, which was a monster Kickstarter with literally over 300 miniatures. It's like 354, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I recently got them.
I have
But
to admit that I'm not super looking forward to painting all of those panels. I might try to get away with like rattle cannon most of it.
oh yeah,
And I'm thinking I'll probably rattle can on, I don't know. Should I go with like Battleship Gray and then do details?
that sounds kind of nice actually. Like I will have to say this though, and not a good thing. Archon Studios is starting to suffer from the same issue that Warhammer is, which is details upon details upon details.
Yeah.
Like
I was talking about that the other day. I mean,
like the miniature I'm painting now has armor with exposed skin on the underside of the armor, and on top of the armor is rivets, and then a couple of the rivets and the armor itself are vines.
it's like, I don't know, young people who recently got into 40K are never going to know the joy of being able to buy a box of Tactical Marines for like $19.99
Yeah.
and just clipping all the parts off the spruce into a big pile in the middle of the table in your hobby shop
Oh yeah.
and just gluing them together however you want.
Oh yeah. No, I haven't opened them yet, but I got a sneaking suspicion that my Grey Knights, because I added even more miniatures to my collection. I bought some Grey Knights, and I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure I'm
all
going to
of
be
the
very
new
limited on what I can
stuff,
do with them.
homie,
Yeah.
is fit to, it's like the arms are specifically designed to go on a certain body
Yeah, and
and
I
stuff like that.
I
But
think
back in the old days, man, it was just like you could put them together however you wanted.
Yeah.
You could do all kinds of shit. And then if you bought enough Devastators, which I did, you had the one and traded for. You had the kneeling Space Marine legs.
Oh yeah.
So you could build the body of the Space Marine like looking down the bolter like he's taking aim,
Mm-hmm.
but then mount him on the kneeling legs so that it looks like he's taking a knee. I
Oh yeah.
mean, you could
Well, that
just do anything, really. It
that is
was
one of the greatest sins, I believe, Games Workshop, and now same thing with Archon Studios is, excuse me, you don't have a lot of options for what you can do with the feet, because like they're really awesome miniatures. Like the guy I'm painting here, I literally have to attach him to the base because part of his foot was built into the base.
right.
Like that literally says I either have to destroy what is actually a pretty awesome base to get that one toe off, or I have to stick him to that base.
Yep.
And
That
I've
was the
some
whole thing back in the day with
the
your
same thing.
Space Marines, your Orcs.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could buy a box of boys, you could pop them all off the sprue and then just glue them together however the hell you wanted because every single part was made to.
Yeah, Bruce recently sent me some some of the older Skaven for me to paint up for him, and that's exactly how they were. They had uniset legs, like they all were the same exact posed legs, but their arms were completely free posed. All their heads could be set in different angles.
Yep, that's how they were when they were released for Hero Quest and Warhammer Quest, and it was like you would put them in the slot base, and you'd have the whole rat, and then you would glue the arms on with whichever weapon you wanted, and then they had multiple shields.
Oh yeah,
and those guys got a lot of use too because not only were they in Hero Quest and in Warhammer Fantasy, they were in Mordheim, the starting box. I mean,
mm-hmm.
those old monopose Skaven, and they were awesome. Everyone loved them. It was just like because they were so. I mean, literally, you sit down an hour later, you got your warband built, and if you're not looking to impress anyone, you prime them, and then just paint them beast red or some fur color, and then give them a black dry brush, and guess what, or a black wash, and they're good to go. They're 100% ready.
Well, it's like I've actually got Bruce as thank you for painting up the rats for me. He sent me a couple of different miniatures, including some flesh eater quartz miniatures. It's not enough for a unit, but enough for like a diorama. And
Nice.
it is. I have fell victim to the 40k mindset, which is after I finished painting the first one, I'm like, I must have missed something. I can't be done yet. Could I? I mean, I'm missing details. There's got to be some little detail I've missed, right? Because that's exactly what you do with Warhammer miniatures. You spend 20 minutes after you're done. Okay, what did I miss? I know I missed something. What is it?
Well, here's a secret from an old guy that's painted way too much Warhammer. Non-oil will hide anything.
Oh yeah.
So when you get done painting your rats, if you ever get into that situation you're describing,
yeah,
just give them a non-oil wash.
Oh,
Whatever you think you're missing, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't actually have
You
any
know what I mean?
non-oil at the moment. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I don't have any non-oil at the moment, but I do got several washes, and I actually do need to check out no oil for the.
I know this guy's not focusing in.
Yeah. For the ability to do some more.
Oh, there you
just
went.
focused in. Nice. That looks pretty. I don't know if it actually is, but that looks like the guy from Big Trouble in Little China.
That is who it is. That is
right.
Jack Burton.
It's been a while since I've seen the movie, so I forgot his name.
China is here, Mr. Burton. China is here. I don't even know what that means. He's like, yeah. Tuck Chewbacca gave us Drizzt. I was never a fan of Drizzt. The first 3 books were good. After that, I got bored of it. The audio book my wife and I are trying to listen to, like when time permits, currently is Dungeon Crawler Carl, which is, if you can believe it or not, a comedy about aliens destroying like the entire Earth. And then making random humans run through a dungeon that they've, that's full of cameras and stuff so they can watch it because it's like a game show.
Sounds like X-Crawl.
Yeah, Dungeon Crawler Carl. And it's like they're constantly giving him like achievements. Like when he went into the dungeon, all he had was like a bathrobe, Crocs, and a cat. So he got the achievement Cat Lady. He got the achievement I don't need weapons. He got all these achievements. And then at some point it turned out the cat's smart. And then the cat, it turns out, has the highest intelligence of anybody else in the group. So it starts being the leader. And the goal is if you finish the dungeon, then you can defend your race and win prizes and maybe, whatever. But otherwise you get ate by the goblins and stuff that the aliens created specifically to put in the dungeon.
Yeah, it sounds kind of like I think it is different though, but it sounds kind of like an anime I knew of. You do it through a dungeon, and if you succeeded, you were given powers, and you did get achievements. And if you got certain achievements, like certain powers would be unlocked, or if you got a certain number of achievements, you could choose a power. It was a really weird anime, but it was kind of cool. The idea was kind of cool. I don't think I watched it.
Like Solo Leveling.
That it might be. I don't know. I seen one episode, which means I don't remember the name very well.
Okay.
But it was enough in that one episode for me to get the basic gist of what was happening.
Right. Well,
kind of wish I could have seen more because it was weird but kind of interesting.
And tell me what the basic gist is.
Oh, I've seen enough of Berserk to agree with. I forgot who you said it was, but the one dude reviewing animes, Berserk, pain.
Yeah, it's just that's it, just pain. Yeah, I like when he tells the story about his friend leaving the kid at his house. He's like, well, you're just watching cartoons, right? So it should be fine. And the guy's like, but the guy takes off. And he was watching Berserk Golden Age arc with like this 10-year-old kid's just like, And when the kid's dad comes, he's like, "So how are you doing?" And the kid just looks at him and says, "Griffith." Yeah.
That's funny.
How that never become a RPG setting, I don't know.
Oh, I think there is an RPG for it.
What
I've just heard it's
RPG?
really, really bad.
Well, I know for a fact that Bear, our favorite Canadian, has the Goblin Slayer RPG.
Yeah.
Actually, I should have said Bear, our favorite future American.
I mean, he is going to move to Alberta.
It's like Canada leads the world in not being America, and they're getting ready to F that up. They won't even be able to do that. Because if you ask a Canadian anything about being Canadian, the first thing they say is, "We're not American." It's like, okay, well, what's going to happen when you are?
Yeah.
Because Quebec just dropped the bomb today about they're wanting to leave because they're sick and tired of the Anglo parts of Canada interfering with their Francophile whatever. Because, it's Quebec. They pretty much hated the rest of Canada since they formed anyway. So yeah.
That's okay. They can have self-loathing.
And then Alberta and Saskatchewan, because wherever Alberta goes, Saskatchewan follows. They're making up their mind whether independence is a good idea or should they just join America. They have to have votes.
The problem that I'm having with that, and I do have a real problem with that, those two provinces are fragging huge. Not that that's a bad thing, but the level of infrastructure we'll have to devote to making Saskatchewan be able to be useful for 4 months a year, that's a lot of money that'll be going out.
Yeah, but you know what Saskatchewan is known for?
Delicious moose and oil.
Lots of oil. So if we have a pipeline running from Saskatchewan through Alberta into Montana, believe me, they'll pay for the infrastructure.
Well, why can't we just fucking tie into the pipeline that goes up to Alaska? That's only,
or we could do that.
we could do that, and that'd be like 60% of the cost or less.
Yeah, or we could do that.
I'm not trying to be completely fucking kosher on my statements, on my focus, but I mean, like, I'm looking at money a lot more now that I'm at 50 than what I used to.
Well, from what I've seen on TV, if Saskatchewan and Alberta specifically, join the United States, it would become the second wealthiest state after Texas. Because of how much oil and heavy metals and, all the shit we invade brown countries for, they got it. So we can leave all those Arabs alone for a minute.
I'm okay with that. I don't want them to make any more money. I
Bud will be crying to hear that, but
Who?
Bud.
Who's Bud?
Bud, the B-52.
Buff. You said Buff. I thought you said
Buff.
Bud.
Yeah, Buff. Because
Buff. God damn it! I love bombing brown people.
Yeah.
There's nothing like a day where you cruise up to 45,000 feet, and then you just start making the geography your own.
He's like super racist. They're always yelling at him. Buff. You're not allowed to say that. Well, it's true. Like, damn, Buff, calm down.
Are you a pepperback?
I don't know what a pepperback is.
Pepperback is a person that they back Pepperbox TV.
Yeah, I still don't know what that is.
Pepperbox TV is the unsubscribed crew, habitual line crosser. That all those guys are the main guys behind it. Fat Electrician. That's their version of what the internet should be, complete with potential. You never hear them. Potential racial slurs, because they don't want to alienate their fan base who love their dark humor.
Right. The
It's $8 a month for getting shit unfiltered. Like if they say like there's a shooting or there's a rapist, they don't like bleep out shit. If this
Let
is a
me tell
normal
you
YouTube channel, they
something, my
bleep out
good
every time I
friend.
said the word rape. We rape good taste, you know.
Oh my goodness.
What? What?
Calm down. I'm going to tell you something. I watched a video yesterday where someone is making anime starring all of the top streamers on Twitch.
I don't know who those people are.
Have you ever heard of Nuxanor?
No.
He's like a blue guy that just comments on shit. Like he's an anime character. You know who Asmongold is, right?
Yeah, I know who that guy is, but he also
And
his-
Tectone.
Cross.
Well, in the video, they were mocking like Lord of the Rings,
Mhm.
and they had Asmongold playing a wizard, and then they had some other guy who was like really small, and he kept sticking pickles in his butt. And then for some reason, they had to break into this dungeon, right? So they went and got Nuxanor, but they depict him as a big blue monster. And like all of Nuxanor's monster powers were related to the fact that he's Jewish. So like at one point he picks a lock to a vault with his nose, which is very big. And like all of his attack powers are him throwing like Star Davids made out of pennies at people. and I saw this on Nuxanor. Nuxanor is like, so let's, and he was laughing. And he's like, did my character just pick that safe with his nose? And then he's like, well, to be honest, I mean, you know, it's true. And shit. Because, you know, Nuxanor. Ah, so there they are. Canards. They really don't like canards.
Canards are gay.
That is the statement. Canards
This
are fact.
must be a brand, or no, that's not a brand new one. But here's the site, Pepperbox. That just showed up like 12, 13 hours ago. Here's the new stuff. 2 of the videos are exclusive to Pepperbox. You'll see bits of this on YouTube. Jack Mandeville's on Man vs. After Show. Man vs. Morning is actually a good adult podcast.
I don't know. I'm still a little mad at the fat electrician.
Why? What'd he do?
He put out a video saying that Bradley was a tank.
It's not a tank. I think he even addresses that.
It's not a tank. It's an IFV. Whatever.
But this is their website. Pepperbox is fun. It's $8 a month. I enjoy it quite a bit.
All right. Well, I don't know if I
we-
even watch TV enough for that, but
I watch a lot of it because I'm trying to fix my fucking miniatures, but I usually work 12 hours a day. Not today, mind you. Today I caught up on sleep.
well, what ends up happening with me is I put on some made by an AI story on YouTube and fall asleep. Because my new thing, which is part of my new thing, is I never get in bed unless I'm going to sleep. Whereas I used to be really bad about just laying on my ass in bed all day. And what I did is I trained myself not to go to sleep. Because, you know, your brain has to link laying down with sleep. Otherwise, you just set up all night. And
Yeah.
that's what I did. And so now I do not lay in my bed unless it's beddy time. So I'll go in there and put on some AI, you know, humans killing everything in the universe because we're death worlders, or alien girl gets abandoned by her entire species until lonely human man bangs her. I mean, I'm synopsing it. I mean, there's a lot of slowly learning each other and falling in love, but they all end the same way. The alien chick's pregnant.
Well, that was actually a really good one. It did not end in the in this case, the human girl pregnant because she was just a girl through the story. Human girl sold for meat becomes butcher's favorite student.
Right? They got some wild ass shit. It's like, so this is the future, and you're on some colony somewhere, and you're getting ready to sell a person for meat. And no one has a problem with this. Everybody's good. The one I seen was she was an alien with like purple skin and white hair because they all seem to be. And they were going to sell her for meat because she was deemed too big by her species to reproduce and stuff.
Was this written by Japanese people?
It's all AI.
Okay, because that sounds like a Japanese style story. Anytime you have a Japanese girl with C cup or larger titties, like they do everything in the world to smother those things and like not advertise the fact that like you could have some real fun with those fun bags.
Well, this girl, I don't know anything about her titties because it never really said. But when she stood straight up, like in her bare feet, she was like 7.5 feet tall, which was way, way taller than was normal for her species. So they judged her, since she couldn't reproduce, they judged her as useless and dumped her off. And no one wanted to buy her. So she ended up getting sold to the butcher who was just going to sell her for meat. And then, of course, as always happens, some human happened to be wandering through and he heard what was going on. And he walked up and was like, hey, I'll give you X amount for her. And then, of course, she don't trust him and she thinks he's going to try to essay her right away and stuff. But he don't, because it turns out he's a good guy. And then by the end of the story, which will be 45 minutes long, she's pregnant. And they've built a little house and everybody's having a good time. So, yeah.
Now, for the thought of brain cancer coming up, WotC announces that they've got a new SG-1 module. That SG-1 is not for Stargate, but it's a new series of modules that are coming out, SG series. The Life of a Showgirl.
Oh, yeah. I
What?
saw a bunch of that. Yeah, that's pretty weird. How you doing?
In the gentle words of the Virgin Mary, come again.
Yeah.
Bear, my favorite future American. What's new?
Hey, Bear, future American. How you doing, sir?
Future American. Where the fuck you get this bullshit from?
I don't know. It's just funny. You know,
Hilarious shit.
it's just hilarious.
Yeah, no. What's this brain cancer showgirl thing all about, please?
Have you seen the fucking art for this new WotC?
Oh, the new Ghost book, and it's a bunch of. They look like they're drag actually people.
So this is for D&D?
It's for D&D. It's called The Life of a Showgirl. The cover art looks like nothing like what I would ever expect to be on a D&D module.
I know.
There's no dungeon. There's no dragon. There's a kind of athletic.
Very, very, very large black woman.
Yes. She's very hardy in the carbohydrates.
Oh, Tank did a video on it. I should watch his at some point.
Which is like, hey, what's up, Doc? How you doing, homie? I'm just sitting here painting random as I pick them up Nighthawk miniatures from the old Star Frontiers game. These are the metal ones. The only reason they still exist is the guy I got them from at least was nice enough to primer them. Because if he had left them the bare lead, they'd probably rotted away by now. I don't know if you guys know this, but yeah, bare lead miniatures. If you expose them to like light and stuff, they'll oxidize and rot right away. And these were made in a time when they're like, oh, lead? Yeah, let's make everything out of it. Sounds good.
That sounds like the old Star Wars miniatures from 1980s and 1990s. I got the Rancor, which was about 4 inches in height. And the moment I started applying primer to it, it starts to pit on me. I was a rather upset gamer.
Well, what I did, because I'm kind of a artard sometimes, it's part of my, I don't know, let's call it a mental illness of some sort, but I'm not sure what sort. Is
I'm going to let you know a little secret here. I'm kind of a retard.
yeah. When I decided to run West End Games Star Wars, I bought all of the Star Wars tactical games.
Yep.
Just so I could have the miniatures.
I bought all the figurines in 1996 or 7 that they had for Star Wars D6. And
Yeah, these ones are the plastic ones that came in
These-
a big box, and you had like Lando's this and Attack on Hoth, and
these were a poor grade of lead, and it cost me at the time, which almost broke me because I was broke as shit at the time, about $187. But that was every blister package they made.
yeah. See, these ones were like, do you remember when D&D come out with those box sets like the Flames of Ashkelon?
The back, are you talking about back in 3.5?
Yeah, and they
Yeah,
were great box sets to buy because each one came with like 60 freaking minis, and they were generally pretty good minis. I've still got them.
Not 60 miniatures. I remember the chainmail miniature game.
No, what game did this guy come out of? I think he come out of the Dritz Underdark game.
Sorry,
And it
Harry,
came with like a shit ton of drow and a shit ton of like all kinds of stuff.
oh, Wrath of Ashardalon, and
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, there's like 4 of them. One of them is like a Ravenloft themed board game. One of them
Like this guy is one of those D&D
Yeah.
board game figures that I just painted.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Star Wars did the same thing.
Okay.
They put out Star Wars, whatever it was, and it come with a bunch of stormtroopers and Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and some rebels and whatever, and a bunch of little cardboard tiles to play on. And then they just started adding like Battle for Hoth, Cloud City, and then it had missions in it that you could like play a whole campaign, right?
Mhm.
And I got all those miniatures.
Hey, Doc.
Yeah, Doc
Hello.
finally
You know,
finally caught me live, he says.
I bought all of the. There's
So
a
I've got a Rancor, but mine's plastic and it's like 6 inches tall. It's huge.
Not bad.
And I've also got an ATST, and then I've got enough stormtroopers that I probably could play Star Wars Legion if I really wanted to. You know,
I used to have the 3-foot tall Rancor toy until my parents made me sell it.
that was not nice of your parents. I very nearly.
Wait. Why did they make you sell it? Did they need the money to pay off their bookies? What?
No, well, sort of. My father was an alcoholic at the time.
Oh my God, look at that. I found it on the first try. Lucky me.
Yay, you are smart. My boy over here, he's wicked smart. But anyway,
He's wicked smart.
yeah.
Smart.
He had a heart
Um,
attack. He had a what? He had a heart attack. What, his fucking hat attacked him?
You guys are making fun of my lawyer. Stop it.
I almost bought the AT-AT when
When you were
Wizards
like a
of the
kid?
Coast came out with the 28 millimeter AT-AT, and the side opened up so you could put all your stormtroopers in it. I almost bought that damn thing for $100 and something bucks. I wish I had. It'd be up there somewhere. I don't know that I'd ever use it, but
Can I help you, sir? Do you require
it'd
something?
be neat to have, right?
Are you in
Be
good?
very nice to have. I look at the AT-AT, and I remember the fact me and my friend buried his AT-AT in the dirt off of his porch in Mount Pulaski, Illinois, when we were growing up
Mm-hmm.
at the age of 7 in 1982.
As you do.
Because you do stupid stuff like that when you're a kid.
Yeah, like how I buried my Millennium Falcon in the ground for some reason. And I had the big one where the back popped open and you could see the whole inside and everything.
What the hell's an
Yeah.
aluminum falcon?
A Millennium, yeah. What is an aluminum Falcon?
I really screwed up. I could have had mine in good condition still.
Well,
It's in the basement, so with all of the humiditys there.
there's probably not a one of us that, had we been a little bit smarter with trading cards or something, would be millionaires. Or baseball cards we owned back when we were little kids. You know, we're just
Oh
like,
yeah, well, not necessarily a millionaire, but I used to have an old game system that's actually worth close to $500 now, if you even in bad condition.
Which one?
Fuck, it's one of the iconic game systems, like one of the first ones to come out with a multi-button controller. I forgot what it's called.
ColecoVision and
oh,
Intellivision?
you're talking about video games. Okay.
Yeah. Is it ColecoVision and Intellivision? What are you talking about, man?
I was 6 years old at the time, and I let it get buried in my shit, so I don't even remember what it was called.
I know that my Star Wars Saga Edition core rulebook used to be worth.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up. I had the whole set. I sold them to a friend for $150, $200 because I needed shelf space, and I just looked at the prices on them this year. Fuck everyone.
Don't look at the
Right
price of Knights
prices.
of the Old Republic.
I saw how much it was worth.
That's
They
like
can
that's the
all
one
suck
that's
my
like,
dick.
oh, bend over and take it. If you want to mess with Revan, you're gonna pay some money. You know.
Are you
This is like-
fucking kidding me? How much those books are worth now?
Well, mine, one of the corners is chewed because my Pomeranian chewed a corner off of it. So it's no longer pristine.
So to answer RPG Dad Flynn's questions, I lose a fight with the razor. No, this is on purpose because it was fucking 115 degrees with the humidity. So having a beard like that, like James
Is that
has,
in
was
common
not
terms, or
comfortable.
is that in like
If I say 115 degrees Celsius, the city would be gone. It would be ash. Everyone would have burned to death. Can you guys please join us in the 21st century in your fucking country? Can you just join the rest of the world, please?
You're going to join us.
No.
To the imperial system.
Everyone except North Korea went to the new system, and you
Liberia
guys.
too, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, Liberia is not a real country.
Well, I mean, we created it back when Lincoln was still alive, and his idea of reparations was repatriations.
I love that idea. I really love that idea. That's probably the smartest thing Lincoln ever did.
I feel about that idea the same way I feel about the deporting yourself and getting some money. Like if some dude went to like wherever they would go and was like, look, I'm a black dude. I live in America. Send me back to Africa. Cut him a check. Send him back. I mean, make him even rich in whichever country he goes to, you know, which shouldn't be much, 50 grand. And be like, however, have you seen the video of that black lady that went to Africa? And oh man,
she's trying to get back.
Oh, she's like, ain't no damn snacks. Everyone's trying to rip you off because they think since you're an American, you're rich. And then you're in the bedroom sleeping with spiders and scorpions big as you. She's like so mad. She got it into her head that America was too racist to move to Kenya. And it's like, you know, they still got slaves in Kenya, right? Chick. And they don't look at you the way they look at each other because you are a descendant of the people they thought sucked so bad they sold.
Can we now go somewhere else with the conversation, please? Please, I'm begging you all.
I step away for a moment.
You.
The Canuck disparaging the freedom system of measurement.
Learn how to fucking spell Canuck for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I think that's what the
First of all, hang on. First of all, you learn how to spell Canuck, Doc, and you learn how to pronounce it already, James. It's not Canuck. It's Canuck.
Canuck, yeah.
There's no double E at the end of it.
Coco, I would love to look at Canada one day and see like Junior Castro's castle like completely slagged by 240-degree heat. That would be.
It's going to move to America.
Motherfucker doesn't even count. Why are you guys still on about Justin Trudeau? We've got a whole new thing called Mark Carney. He's even worse.
Yeah, but Justin Trudeau's trying to slap it to Katy Perry, and that's
No, Justin Trudeau is slapping it to Katy Perry, and you know that.
I mean, she does.
Hey,
have those
hey,
things.
you know what? He led one of the greatest countries in the world. Give him his credit, okay? And he's fucking an astronaut. Come on.
And he's related to a guy that's like super famous around the world.
Exactly. So, and his mom fucked Mick Jagger. So at this point, how many lifetimes do you
And
need?
he's got a
Fuck
beautiful
everything.
set of hair.
If you were in a newspaper, you got to fuck his mom.
No, but the Stones did.
I remember, I think Bear, you told me a story where like he was running against somebody and they asked the guy what he thought about Trudeau, and he's like, "Oh, I hate him, but he does have a nice set of hair."
Yeah, I can't remember what that was. Yeah. It's like he's got
It's
nice
like
hair though.
Typical Canadians. They say something bad, but then they end it with like a compliment. I don't like
Yeah,
him at all, but you know, he's okay at hockey.
I have no compliments for you guys today. I have just fucking hatred and vitriol.
You sound like somebody like gave you a blister cushion and you snuggled with it.
No, it's been for the last week. It's been over 100 degrees every day with the humidity and at night. So like 3 in the morning.
Much of this.
No. Okay. We don't live in fucking Texas. You
know what's
understand?
weird?
You
Yeah.
made a choice. You made a choice to go live in America's fucking armpit.
Yes,
That's
I did.
what we did
You know
here.
why? Because I
We are the
fucking
place
hate
that has
the cold
4
and the ice.
fucking seasons. We have 4 seasons in this fucking part of the
I don't
country.
want 4
Okay?
seasons.
Yes, we do because it makes life worth living.
We have 4 seasons
The
too,
only
but they're the
reason you have
expensive to
winter
stay at.
is to cover up the ugly chicks. That's it.
We don't have ugly chicks here, dude. You've never been to Montreal, clearly.
No, I
Yeah,
never.
that's
right.
that's even a meme that they go after on Letterkenny, that there's just no ugly chicks in Montreal.
Well, we've been importing them lately with the mass immigration, but otherwise, no, there is no ugly.
Something
there are no
about the
ugly chicks.
hybridization between like the
French
Chippewa
Canadians and natives.
whatever, and French
Mohawks. Mohawks. It's between the Mohawks and the French Canadians. Also, you have to remember, at one point in time, they had a whole bunch of guys over here trapping fur and no women. So they had done this thing called La Fille de Roi in France, which was they basically went and found women who were willing to go to the New World. They went to send them to Louisiana. They did all right. And then they needed them for Quebec. They had no more women. So they went around to all the streetwalkers in prisons, and most of them were in prison for prostitution in those days, loaded them all up, and sent them to Quebec. So they got here, married some fucking fur trapper or woodcutter, and then started fucking the hot native guy.
Better.
Yeah, I read about the reason France lost North America to England is because England was under a parliamentary system where people were free to move if they wanted.
Yeah.
But at the time, France was still under King Louis, the Sun King,
Yes.
and you couldn't just up and move to America. You had to ask. And that meant that the British just it's like the French were here, and then all of a sudden there's a billion British just showing up.
Yes, but there's also a little factor of they were French. And whenever you need to calculate how things worked out, the X plus Y equals Z, you need to put in the factor of square root of France as the origin point of the equation, and you will always get the why stupid shit happens result. They're not good forward thinkers.
There's 2 on the door.
Think about this. Everywhere the British went, they were like the Romans. They put in roads, they put in plumbing, they put in eventually electricity, they put in systems of government, they put in schools, they did everything they could to make it more comfortable for the 4 fucking Brits who had to live there, right? And as a result, they kind of elevated those societies a little bit. Whereas the French were like the Romans, not the Romans, sorry, they were like the Gaul, well, I don't even know who the fuck, they were like the French. They just went in, fucked Catholicism into everybody, stole all the natural resources and left. Them and the Spanish were like if you had to be colonized, England was your best bet, because otherwise it was Germany, Belgium, Spain, or France, and none of those worked out well.
And China never colonized anyone because they couldn't imagine leaving China.
No, exactly. You ever see you got the 4 seasons of hot in Florida, hot, very hot, sweltering, and raining. You ever see the 4 seasons of California?
Construction.
Earthquakes, fires, riots, and I can't remember what the 4th one is, but it's all like, the shit that goes on.
Yeah, they have like the most beautiful weather and everything, but they just burning shit down. running about.
You know what? I'm starting to think the Californians are actually French and just didn't tell anyone.
Some of them are.
I think California is the France of America because
It kind of is.
Every time I look in the history books, when things go shitty downhill, you can blame the French Masons for fucking up everything.
French Masons.
Yeah, the French Masons are the architects of their destruction. And every time
The
things
French Masons in America? No, Scottish York Rite.
No, the Masons in France are the ones that always seem to capitulate the rest of the world into a downturn.
American Masonry is I think it's Scottish
I know
Rite.
they do Scottish rites.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm not allowed to be part of it or mess with
Is it
it.
Scottish or York in the States? I think it's Scottish Rite in the States.
Either or.
It's not French, that's for
Yeah,
sure. It's
yeah,
definitely
but-
not French
no,
Masonry.
the Masons in France
Yeah.
completely fuck over the rest of the world.
Oh,
They
okay. I
over
get what
France
you're
first.
saying. You're not
Oh, okay.
saying
Yeah, okay.
Masons in America. You're saying the actual Masons in France.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Masons-
and Americans are split between Scottish and York. You have both
Yes.
rights running through
We've
the
got a
U.S.
split here between those two.
Yeah.
I stopped at third degree. I'm like, I already got my Master Mason, and they were ready to graduate me into being a new cop for the city of Decatur. And then I made a comment about the Reverend Jesse Jackson, and that career path went away.
You made it to all the way to third degree, you said?
Yeah, I'm a third degree Master Mason.
Yeah, dude, third degree is like you showed up for the fucking kegger. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
like, come on. Like, I have a buddy who in 1 year went from a new Mason to like 23rd, and then by the end of his second year, he was a 32nd. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and the thing is that if I would have stayed in and kept going at it, I probably could have amended that social mistake, and they would have forgiven me and pissed off a lot of people in Decatur for me being a new cop. But when I saw how political everything was tied into itself, I'm like, you guys go fuck yourself. I want to be a dick in life. I don't want to be constrained. Go suck a dick.
You either have to be poor or a giant fuck up not to make a 32nd degree Mason.
Yeah.
Everybody gets to 32nd. It's the 33rd where shit gets wild.
Yeah. But it's so tied into local politics. There's like you have to do that to be a cop, or you have to be a minority.
You know,
My,
there was a time in the United States when like American citizens were running around looking for Masons and like killing them. Back like during the revolutionary type times.
Mm-hmm.
Like they absolutely hated Masons worse than anything, man. Now, I think the Catholic Church recently kind of lifted their can't be a Mason thing, but Orthodoxy is like, hell no. You know, not no, but hell no, you will not be a Mason. Don't even ask about it. It's not happening. One or the other.
Well, yeah, because, you know, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it. We might as well have the conversations because nobody likes when someone else is on their fucking hustle. Come on. That's our hustle. You don't get to bring your shit to our hustle. You go do your own hustle, man. And that's the problem. That's why the Catholics hate them. That's why your Orthodoxy hates them. The only reason the fucking Protestants don't hate them is because half the Protestants were Masons, and that's the difference, right? But it's all the same hustle. It's all the same hustle. The G in that symbol stands for God. It doesn't stand for geometry.
It stands for some God.
It stands for God as they see it. Okay? Just like the Catholics, it would stand for God as the Catholics see it, or as you as an Orthodox see it, or as an Anglican sees it. It's the point is it's the same hustle, man.
The weird stuff.
What is that? Oh, is that Walrus Man? What is that?
What
it's
is that?
Rorschach.
Rorschach.
That's Rorschach. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got his like little that gun that he uses to like
grapple
climb
gun.
things.
Yeah.
And his stupid leather jacket and his mask.
His stupid leather jacket. It's a leather coat, sir. It's a coat.
Yeah, Rorschach. And then I need to do his flesh and base, but you'll know who this is, obviously.
Hold steady. Focus.
What the fuck? It looks like Master Blaster from fucking Beyond Thunderdome.
Yeah,
No,
does.
it
You're
actually looks more
close.
like the guy from the
Oh, that's the
previous
fucking bad
movie.
guy from Mad Max 2.
Yeah,
Oh, is that you, Lord Humongous? That's
That
Lord
is the
Humongous.
Lord Humongous. The
keep forgetting his
Ayatollah
name.
of rock
Of
and
rock and
roll.
roll. Just walk away, and I spare you lives. But leave me
Yeah.
that fat tank of gauze.
Just walk away.
No,
Yeah,
my war dog, my puppy. No. That guy was awesome.
And then
You know
I
what the best part
you'll
about
like
that
this.
is?
I know you'll like this guy.
That's Jack Burton. You know what they did? They didn't do for Mad Max 2 that they were originally going to do, and then they decided not to in the end. Lord Humongous was going to be Goose.
Yeah,
From
it's
Mad
going to be
Max.
his partner from part
Yeah.
1, the one that got burned
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But then they're like, nah.
Which is like, no, that was a great idea. You should have run with that.
Yeah, you know in Mad Max 2, when that one guy's riding a motorcycle and you see him get thrown through the air? That was
Well,
real.
he broke his fucking legs, didn't he? Or
Yep.
broke his
Yeah,
back?
he was effed up, man.
They were
Right.
lucky though that they had a full the director was a fucking paramedic. George Miller used to run ambulances and and he's a doctor. And then like there was like an entire fucking medical team on site for this one, so like they got to him real fucking fast, like real fucking fast.
Hey, man.
And then he insisted they use the footage in the final cut.
a
They were
female
like, we're not.
can
They were. Yes, it can. But they were like, we're not going to use the footage, man. And he's like, what are you talking about? I fucking nearly killed myself. You better use that fucking footage. You know, it's like, I love Australians. They're the best.
They are crazy.
They used to be. They used to be the best. They used to be the Americans of the Southern Hemisphere. They were great. Now they're pussies, just like Canadians and British and fucking New Zealanders. We're all
Americans?
pussies now.
And most
So
of
you guys-
America,
You guys
except
are
for
still
Florida.
fighting. You guys are still fighting. That's the difference. There's still a fight happening in your country. Our country, we're rolling over and letting people go to jail for tweets. You know what I mean? Come on.
If the moment I get a fucking cop knocking on my door for what I post on social media, I love you all. You'll probably never see me again.
So I'm watching these videos of America, and it's all these ring cam videos of people trying to break into people's houses and home invasions and shit like that. And all I'm thinking to myself is, I wouldn't try that shit in most parts of Canada because there's a good odd that someone in that house has a shotgun. You know what I mean? So I'm like, how the fuck is this happening in the States where your dogs have guns? What the fuck?
I saw a really good meme. I forget. who made
Honey,
it.
getting a shotgun for Sparky.
And
Seriously,
it
look.
showed this British guy knock on an American guy's door, and he's like, "Hi," and he's like, "I'm Constable so and so," and the American's like, "Okay, what can I do for you?" And he's like, "Well, it seems you've hurt some people's feelings on the internet, so I'm here to take you back to Britain to put you in jail." And the American's like, "So, what kind of sidearm do you carry?" And he's like, "Oh, we don't carry sidearms. We rely on forcefulness and kindness." And then the American sitting there looked at him. He's like, "Wait a minute. Let me get you one of my extra ones so this is more fair." I mean, you know, you don't want to shoot an unarmed man. That ain't good.
So it was like a skit, right? Because
Yeah, it's a
really,
skit.
yeah.
Well, because that one idiot in England actually thought that he could extradite Americans for shit
Yeah.
we said on the internet. It's like,
Yeah.
Are you crazy?
But a
But
lot more
yeah,
British
yeah,
cops carry
Doc,
guns
it's
now.
supposed to be Goose, but then they and I like it. Look, Mad Max 2 has one of the greatest opening scenes ever. Once you get past the narration, and then you got that long view, and it like zooms in, and the next thing you see is the highway.
Okay,
and that
Road Warrior
fucking-
is great. Road Warrior is great. It's an amazing visual film, but Mad Max is way more quotable. When,
Oh, I
you
love
see
when-
me, toe cutter? Do you see me? Step right up and watch the boy lay a rubber track straight to freedom. I mean, like, come on, man. The fucking Mad Max movie had so much good dialogue. Road Warrior has the better action, 100%.
Well, I
and better
mean,
world.
when he hit, he like handcuffs that dude to the truck.
Oh, the gyrocopter guy, yeah.
And he's like he handcuffs him to a truck that's getting ready to explode and hands him a hat.
Oh, that's Mad Max. That's Mad Max at the end when he hands him the axe. He's like, "There you go, like 2 minutes before that blows up. If you're quick, you could cough through your leg in a minute." It's just
Yeah,
like,
right.
ah,
But it'll take you like 4 minutes to try to get
Yeah,
through
yeah,
titanium. But and then
Yeah.
he just walks out and you just hear boom. But they deserved it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just
I
see
love
him
those movies.
play into the fucking dust.
I even like Beyond Thunderdome. I don't hate Beyond Thunderdome the way everybody else does. I enjoyed a lot of Beyond Thunderdome.
Not a bad movie.
Beyond Thunderdome was a great follow-up, honestly. I mean, so he's older and there's a town and he's in there pulling the fistful of dollars bullshit.
Yeah.
I
My
mean,
only complaint about Thunderdome is what I have complaint about every single time I see the story is a society of children that are all truly innocent. It's like I could see a certain level of innocence, not to the degree they're always portrayed. You are not going to have fully grown man children.
Well, this is the problem with the movie is that it's two movies combined into one. So there was the movie which was the Thunderdome movie, which was all about him destroying and ruining, the town. And then there was the movie about the children in the desert and him taking over and saving them and leading them to their promised land.
Yeah.
Those were two different movies. And then they just, in the end, shoved the two scripts together, which is why Beyond Thunderdome does have a severe tonal whiplash halfway through.
right.
That makes sense.
Plus the end when he's laying there all effed up and Tina Turner rolls up and she's like, "Ain't we a pair, Raggedy Man?"
Raggedy Man, spin the wheel, Raggedy Man. She did
And I guess she left him alive and just went back to doing whatever she was doing. You know, that armor she was wearing in that movie weighed 90 pounds.
That's how much my kit in Battlefield Earth wore with the head. We were
Yeah,
decked out as the Cyclos. We were 90 pounds of gear in Montreal fucking summer. Holy fuck.
Yeah,
I lost 10 pounds, man, shooting that fucking film.
I'm just learning that it gets hot up there.
Oh, it gets crazy.
Like, you totally blew my mind. I always pictured Canada away, and now I'm finding out. Like,
You know Canada is
I was
like,
wrong for 55 years.
you know Canada's bigger than your country, right? Like we're
I think you're
about
number
the same
two.
width, number 2 in the world.
Yeah.
Russia's still number 1. We're like same width, but we have a lot more space.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. We have a variety of weather styles. We have a desert in Canada, out in British Columbia, the Okanagan Valley. It has fucking scorpions.
Really?
Yeah, you go to the Alberta Badlands. It's like going down to like the Monument Valley type thing. It's crazy.
I heard British Columbia was just absolutely beautiful. Great weather
It
all
is.
the time.
It is. No, it rains, but it's not hard rain. It's coastal rain. So what happens is the moisture comes in off the Pacific, hits the Cascade Mountains, and then rolls back over top of everybody. So there's just this constant mist. You don't get like here. You get it in Florida too. You know that hard rain that bounces 3 feet off the pavement.
Yeah, we get it every day about 4 o'clock.
Yeah, you never see that in Vancouver, British Columbia. That that warm rain you get where it's raining but the water's warm. You don't get that there either. I've had friends from BC come here in the summer and then they see that and they're like, "Why is your rain warm?" It's like because it's actually
We
rain.
even sometimes get rain when it's sunny out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
That's
it's
rare, but you
sunny
get it
out,
around here
and yet
sometimes.
There's rain falling out of the sky.
Now, Bruce, for you, because you live in Texas and you probably don't remember when you lived in the Midwest, rain is this thing that happens normally on a sort of regular pattern that doesn't cause everybody to get flooded out and die in river flooding. I know it's strange for Texans to know about that, but that's something we have here. Regular,
I miss
constant
normal
rain.
rain, and I'm just gonna say, after living in some really bad places, I know it's terrible about the kids that died at the camp.
Oh, that was horrible.
That was they had no warning because of so many issues. There's not one politician to blame. There's a lot of issues there. However, if a deluge of rain flooded the whole city of Houston, I would clap. And if
Okay.
somebody got offended, like, "Oh my God, there's innocent people that are going to get hurt or died." Well, I mean, Japan lost a lot of innocent people too. Don't tell me every one of them were marching for the emperor. There were people that were going to work, trying to live their lives, and
Okay,
Sounds
it's
me-
a
it
really
sounds like
weird
it's just
segue.
like freaking Houston.
Houston. Yeah, you don't have to segue it into Nagasaki and fucking
they
Hiroshima.
had the sun happen twice in 1 year.
So listen,
Well,
in
don't be
Montreal,
touching our boats.
there are 2 east-west highways on Montreal. There's the 20 and the 40, okay? And between the two of them, because one's north end of the city, the other's south end of the city, there's this thing called the DeCarry Expressway, the 15, that's a trench that runs right through the middle of that part of the city.
Said,
What they didn't bother telling anyone was that it was also designed as a flood, what's the word? Floodway.
floodway? Oh.
So in the 80s, the late 80s, we had this rainstorm that was from fucking God himself. He was just like, you know what? Let's play some Noah shit up in Montreal and see what happens. and the fucking Dakari flooded. A couple people lost their lives because it was like a flash flood. Their cars were in the fucking thing as it was flooding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the government was kind of like, "Oh yeah, no, we designed it to do that." And everybody's like, "You think you might want to fucking tell us since it's a road?" You fucking cunts.
Build like a place so that floods can be redirected to, and then build a road right through it. It's like
The thought of it, like, I can't imagine.
it's like I don't think you guys are really thinking about this.
So we're going to go back to my earlier statement about the square root of France. Remember that part of the conversation?
I do.
Ta-da! Ta-da! Don't forget to carry the stupid. You know what I'm saying? When you're doing your math, you got to carry the stupid, and that's for
I
the
think
French.
a lot of it too is cultural, because back then most British people, especially if they lived in like one of the big cities, they just wanted to get the F out. But the French, they love France, and they're like, "Oh, you can't leave France."
No, but France suffered from the same thing that the communists, Russia suffered from, what the Chinese are suffering from right now, which a lot of cultures suffer from, which is no one wants to report bad news up the chain because usually the guy delivering the message gets fucked to the wall. Where in the British system, the guy reporting the bad news up the chain is the guy who gets everybody underneath him fucked to the wall, or the guy that was responsible above him fucked to the wall and possibly promoted up the food chain at that point in time. So English cultures tend to have a much better system of reporting bullshit to the proper authorities than most other cultures because of that simple little thing.
That reminds me of the comparative system between Rome and Carthage. If a Carthaginian officer did something and lost a battle, they typically crucified him. Whereas if a Roman did something and lost a battle, they didn't. They would just be like, "Oh, you suck," and maybe demote him for a little while, but then maybe promote him back later. And because of that, it caused a lot of Carthaginian generals to just like be so timid with everything. They basically just didn't want to take any chances because, I mean, you F up, you're getting nailed to a fucking stick. You know, that ain't good. And I have it on whatever, directly from the mouth of a pretend demon, that crucifixion is the worst way to die. Or I should say, a guy acting like a demon.
Yeah, it's possible. I also think the Roman eagle or whatever it was called, that sounded pretty bad.
Oh, the Viking thing where they cut your lungs out while you're still alive and then flop on your back.
Yeah, and then the French took that to a whole other level where they fucking like peeled your skin out and unfolded your rib cage and all this other shit while you're still alive. That sounds pretty fucking horrid too.
Well, what they did to William Wallace, right? They like choked him until he was almost dead, then stopped hanging him so that they could draw him, and which they cut his penis off, cut his guts out, and then pulled him into 4 pieces.
And then sent those pieces. And then sent those pieces to various cities to be put on the gate.
Yeah, the Blood Eagle was one the Vikings were known for, and the other one is, and sometimes they would do this to themselves if they effed up really bad. They would make an incision in their lower abdomen and pull their intestine out and like nail it to a tree. And then they would see how many times they could walk around the tree until they died. And it was like an atonement thing, which is freaking weird. Now, I do know the Vikings that killed Brian Boru or Brian McConnetty, when the dog of Boru, O'Sheen, caught them, he tied them all to trees with their own guts. So, and he actually had his men not use their weapons, but cut down long poles so they could beat the Vikings into submission, capture them, and then torture them to death because they were really mad about the King of Ireland being killed.
Yeah,
that's some shady ass Vikings.
One of the best gut death, not in this case, it wasn't torture, that I've ever heard. Unfortunately, I don't think it's real. Is called Cullen, wrapping his own guts around a rock so he could take his final breath standing. I believe it is just a song, but it'd be really cool if it was true.
Well, I think that Cuchulainn, Cuchulainn, whatever, how I think he was probably real, but he was just a dude that did some heroic shit. So maybe
Yeah.
he did do that. I mean, I have
I honestly don't know,
weird
but it'd be
feeling
really
in my
cool if it was.
brain. Like my brain tells me that all of the Norse and Celtic gods were probably real badass heroes, like a long, long time ago.
Oh, well, the
And just as their legends spread, they got promoted to godhood.
well, in the case of Cuchulainn, I heard this from a song, and he was considered a man when he died. He was
was
never
human.
worshipped as a god.
As a matter of fact, he punched somebody's dog and killed it.
Yeah, that's the beginning of the story. Is like
they
he
named him the Hound of. That's what his name means.
Yeah, the story goes that he said he'll guard the blacksmith's house until he
Right,
got a new
because
dog.
Ku or Su in Irish is dog or hound.
Uh-huh.
Cuchulainn.
Which is funny because in Russian, Suka is a female dog, but also a bitch. And Suki is multiple bitches.
And
So if you're ever
yeah.
hanging out online playing what's it called, Counter-Strike, and you hear somebody call you a Suki, now you know.
Yeah, but it's the same thing in French. Chien is a dog, and chienne is a female dog, but it's also a bitch.
Right. So
You know.
so very interesting how, but then again, I've talked at length about Indo-European culture and language, and how a lot of these languages actually have, they're like thousands upon thousands of years ago, there was a root language that then over thousands of years kind of diverged and become, what we call German and well, we know with English, because like English become English so near to us in history that we can actually like draw a timeline of, when you had like Old English and Norse and French but boom, 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 English. You know what I mean? We can actually see the evolution of the English language, but I think they all did that, But who knows? I believe in weird shit like Doggerland and all that too. So whatever. Cuchulainn. Yeah, I know I named my character in Dark Age of Camelot Conchobar, spelled it totally wrong, and I know it's supposed to be pronounced Conchobar, but I didn't give a shit. And I was the rank 1 hero for months on that server, so that's right. Because, I mean, Irish, there's still some names in Irish that they don't even know how they're supposed to be pronounced. Like that one girl name. They have a pronunciation for it, but yeah, Siobhan. But
yeah, Siobhan.
Yeah, it's like there's B's and H's and shit.
Yeah, Siobhan. Siobhan, but it's Siobhan.
Siobhan. Well, my original spelling of my name is Maciodh. And apparently that's McKee.
So you know who we get to blame for all this, right? It's the Romans. It's all the Romans' fault. They went everywhere and left a fucking alphabet, but they left no pronunciation guides with their alphabet, which is why we don't know what the Roman accent sounds like.
Yeah, the closest we could guess would probably be Romanians.
Romanians are probably the closest, but they're polluted by Slavs. So as a result, their accent is
by all the Slavs.
Yeah.
I would imagine actually it's more Neapolitan in accent.
It's not.
Else.
None of the Italic accents are even remotely close to what the Roman accent would have been.
Yeah,
in fact, so much so all the Italic accents were seen as barbarous, primitive accents by the Romans. So
like
none of that.
I've never heard that before. So
I have a buddy of mine who's like a fucking Roman historian. He's Italian, and he's like one of these guys who's like so happy to tell us his fucking family is Cabrisi, I think it is.
I do know that modern Italian was based on the trade language of Venice or some shit.
Yeah, Venetian, yeah. No, but the thing is, so like his family considers themselves Roman because they can trace their lineage to owning this whorehouse a day's march outside of Rome on top of a fucking mountain, right? And like he's been there and seen it, and it's like he goes, yeah, the fucking place is disgusting. Like all the fucking what are they called? When they engrave art in a wall, what is that called?
Vandalism?
No. When it's done as the art for the thing. There's a term for
mural?
that. Fuck. No,
don't
Oh, hold on.
it's not relief. Is
Like
it relief?
mosaics or something like
No,
that.
it's like a relief or whatever. Like they've
Yeah,
carved it. Yeah.
Bas
So he
relief.
goes, all of the reliefs are like fucking. It's like all of them. He goes, and some
Well,
of the things
because
that they're
that's like
fucking are like,
relief.
"Whoa." But that's the thing. So it was apparently the family owned this whorehouse. There was
Right.
literally 1 day's march outside of Rome. So when the legions were disbanding and coming home to Rome, they would always stop there, right? And like the
Well, it
generals
hasn't
would get the
been
good
polluted by
girls.
Slavs.
Oh,
I have no response to that. But yeah, they used to engrave shit like that on
Yeah.
the walls and stuff because that was the menu. Like if you
frescoes.
walked up and
Fresco?
you saw like a dude, like frescoes maybe. I
Yeah,
don't
is
know.
that the term?
But if you walked up to the whorehouse and you saw some dude with some chick bent over doing some like weird ass shit, you knew that was available. That's a thing that could happen. If you
Anyway,
got the
he was
knowledge.
saying that they had ones of like women fucking bulls and horses and like just
There's one
crazy
thing we
shit.
can all say about the Romans. They love the cock. They decorated everything with cocks. Cocks everywhere. The Grand Colosseum had cocks everywhere. The hippodrome had cocks everywhere. It was like there was just cocks everywhere with these guys. Bas relief or face relief?
Bas,
Maybe, Robert.
Bas. I think it's Bas, BAS, Bas relief.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know why, but the Romans, they were just all about decorating everything with dicks. But
Mhm,
apparently
yeah.
the dick represented Zeus or some shit like that, or Jupiter.
Well, the dick in both Greek and Roman culture, I'm not 100% sure, but this is my understanding, is directly represented power.
Well, they got it from the Egyptians, right? Because that's what a fucking obelisks are Horus's cock, right?
Ah.
So like you guys have a giant one in Washington, the city of London has one right in front of it, the Vatican has one right there as well, and those symbolize the penis of this god that was cut to pieces before his wife put him back
Osiris.
together, but she couldn't. Osiris, sorry, not Horus, Osiris, and she couldn't find his cock, but that's what the obelisk
Because a crab
represented.
ate it.
Yeah. So that's what those represent. So for the Romans to take that on is absolutely makes perfect sense, since they had a lot of contact with Egypt before
Well, I mean,
they conquered
Egyptian society was so far ahead of like literally everything for so many thousands of years. It's kind of crazy, Like, anyway, it's been 2.5 hours. I'm gonna go
it.
eat.
Aw.
I'm sorry, bro.
Aw.
I'm gonna go eat and hang out with my wife and see what she's up to.
I missed you guys. I'm glad to got a chance to be with you for a bit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Every day's a gift.
It is.
Catch you later.
You will.
So yeah.
All right. Bye.